Okay. Hello. Time to I've been pretty busy lately, so I haven't been able to update myself on some recent events or like just YouTube videos in general. There's been some fun stuff going on in the past week that I can't wait to talk about. But I do need to. I still don't know how to like edit recent events. Let me go. Edit. There we go. I gotta add some tags since Streamlabs don't let me. And then we'll get to the videos. No, it's not made for kids. Oh, I gotta add tags separately every time. Okay. Just throw in some random. What else? Probably gonna be some Trump stuff. LGBTQ usually is very popular. Reddit. What else we got going on? I bet Assassin's Creed Shadows will probably be in the news at some point today too. Alright, let's go with that. I'll just throw that in there. KKK. Save. Cool. Cool beans. Yeah. I think this will be kind of a fun little thing to do a couple hours after I get home from work. Just watch some stupid ass videos, have a conversation about them, and just have fun. Talk some shit. You know, a fun little thing to do a couple hours after I get home from work. Just watch some stupid ass video. Or I guess more along the lines of listen to stupid ass videos. And I think I'm going to start with this one. So I guess this David guy is mad at Asmongold for some reason. Or I know the reason. He thinks that his take on trans people means that he wants them to get murdered. But we'll let the video play and then we'll talk after.
LGBT community. I invite you, Asmongold, to read up. The guy's name was Sam.
Oh boy. The ego on this guy already. We're 7 seconds in and I already know this guy's gonna be interesting. And by interesting, I mean the opposite of interesting. I mean he's probably just gonna be an obnoxious asshole with nothing really important to say. Usually these middle-aged, middle-class white people tend to just... they like to hear themselves talk, he says. Oh wait, what am I doing? But I'm also not going to be virtue signaling like this guy is.
Sam Nordquist. He was 24 years old. He's dead now. He was tortured.
Oh, I heard about this story. So apparently there was a trans person that got tortured for a month and got murdered, and it doesn't say in the story this guy's posting here, but if you look it up, the missing context is that the people that murdered the trans person were also gay themselves. So it's kind of weird that he's using this story for his point, but we'll let him cook.
He was murdered, never did anything wrong. Except...
So you're telling me...
Well, usually, most people that get murdered usually don't do anything wrong in a lot of cases. That's why they call it murder. Usually it's when a crazy person goes out of the way to end the life of a random person. usually we change it to manslaughter when it's like an altercation. Murder is just a crazy person taking the life of an innocent person. So yeah, I don't think anybody who gets murdered is technically asking for it. But alright, 18 seconds in.
That there's a person who was gay that got killed? That's crazy. I would have never believed that.
And like, not to make this person's murder any less real, but people get murdered every single day. I don't understand how this is being used as emotional blackmail against Asmund. Like, it's just, okay, you found a random story of a gay guy getting killed after Donald Trump got elected. And now it sounds like this guy is trying to create a correlation that people who have opinions that disagree with a lot of what certain trans people are saying nowadays means that we all just want to get them killed. No. Just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you want to see them get hurt. That's completely insane. But anyway, I'm like, preemptively, I can already assume what this guy's gonna say. Like, I know most of these people are usually just self-inflating their own egos and don't actually have any real points. But maybe he will, who knows?
Wow. I guess every gay person is right about everything now. Great argument.
And I think, like, the main people that we disagree with are the ones who act like obnoxious assholes and throw temper tantrums and screech at the top of their lungs. It's really nothing to do with their sexual orientation or what they want to do with their life or whatever. It's just you act like an asshole, you're going to get treated like an asshole. It's really not that deep or complicated. So, anyway. It's going to be a long few hours.
Have the fucking confidence, the fucking bones to fucking be who he is.
This guy's already so emotional, he can't even get his point across. Like, he's stuttering. You already know when someone's having trouble even getting words out of their mouth that they're probably not going to say anything logical.
Yep.
But, you know, I guess that's not good enough for you.
Who is this guy?
Okay.
Asmund Gold, he doesn't pass the cool check. That's unfortunate for him because he's dead.
Pass the cool check? Bro, you're a balding, middle-aged man with Funko Pops behind you. I don't think being cool is really on the radar for, well, any of us, to be honest. But, alright, sure. Whatever you say.
What do you think? I'm like spamming a W because some random guy got killed because he's gay? Why would I do that? That's
Yeah,
insane.
Right? That's quite the accusation to make just because someone has a different opinion than you. Oh boy, this is going to be good.
What? Who is this?
Now, I wonder if
David
someone
Jeff
like
James.
Asmongold, seriously, I wonder if he is aware of his influence, and I wonder if he's
I am. That's why I do what I do.
I was going to say...
sad
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's aware of his own success. I mean, it's weird that you bring that up, but sure.
or depressed or
Is that this isn't
not terribly bright. You know, this is
I'm
3
stupid.
hours ago. There's you know,
That's
over a
it.
250,000 people.
Yeah. Anybody who disagrees with you is obviously just fucking stupid or depressed. Yeah, obviously, right?
Watch this.
Yes.
And, hey, man, I support his right to think whatever he wants. He has a right to dislike
Okay.
people. He has a right to express it as long as it doesn't incite violence. But I would
That's
say
true.
that I'm more bothered by the fact
Damn, I'm glad we're stating the obvious.
that his audience is just so goddamn big.
Okay, we're 2 minutes in, and he's already announced how big Asmund's following is twice now. Are we gonna go back to the point? Or are we just glazing Asmongold here? I thought you didn't like him. Why are you glazing him so much? It's kind of a weird thing to bring up after you just accused him of wanting trans people to be tortured and murdered, but now you're talking about how popular he is? Okay. Sure. Whatever you say, bro. Keep cooking.
As I said, guys, it's just everybody is really lucky that I'm the most humble and modest streamer.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this amount of ego glazing, like this, it's been going crazy. It really is. It's been going absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
Luckily, this doesn't affect me. Of course, I would never let this affect my ego. That'd be silly.
Of course not. Naturally.
I don't understand.
You know what the worst?
I mean, I understand how perhaps you can like the guy's gaming content or World of Warcraft content or even his anti-woke content or whatever. But, I mean, we're coming off the weekend of learning about this story. This was in Atlanta. This was a story as the New York Times. But
Well, and I personally like his content because he's consistent with his opinions and he doesn't pussyfoot around, and he does genuinely have a lot, and most times, intelligent things to say that I respect. Now, I don't always agree with Asmongold. I also don't always agree with everybody that I'm around either. You're going to disagree with people. It's called being human. It's called having a fucking head. Is yours just for show?
it's all over. A person killed in New York was tortured for more than a month. It was a train.
I wonder what David thinks.
I really don't understand how this correlates. Yes, so some crazy people killed somebody. You found one bad source that you didn't even do your own homework on to see that it was other gay people that killed another gay person. So I don't understand how this point is an accusation at Asmon or his audience to say that he hates gay people. I really... This doesn't make any sense. This is such a reach. Like, if you're gonna straw man an argument, at least don't be so fucking lazy and find something that's actually decent, because this is just so easy to pick apart.
My opinion about this is, I wonder, like, because I'm really curious, like, what does he think that I believe about this? It's emotional manipulation. No, it is. It's emotional manipulation. What he's doing
100%.
is he's using a person, and this is disgusting. The person who killed this person should go to jail for life.
Obviously, any sane person would come to that conclusion that if you torture and murder somebody, yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anything. Any of that other stuff is just extra, and obviously you should go to fucking jail for life. Duh. We can't live in a society where we pick and choose who deserves to get murdered or not. Oh man, I know people are going to bring up Luigi and all that stuff too, but let's stick to one point. I don't want to be like David here and go on a tangent about random bullshit.
Everybody agrees with that. It, in a good chance, probably torture for more than it's disgusting. Everybody agrees with this.
Obviously. Yeah, I don't even understand why this guy is getting up in his feelings and trying to emotionally blackmail people just because they disagree with his worldviews, and he's using this as evidence that, oh, you don't like trans people, so you want everybody to be killed. Yeah, I don't like assholes or people who drive like assholes on the road, but I also don't think that they should be killed. I don't like people that smell bad. I don't think they should be killed. I don't like a lot of things. We all have things that we dislike about other people. But anybody who's sane can live in a society with those people and not wish death upon them. Like, holy.
Trans man, the cops are saying that this is pretty much the repeated acts of violence and torture.
I was trying to see if in this article in New York Times, or if it laid out the fact that it was other gay people who killed this person. But as usual, when these types of people find sources on the internet, they'll try to find one that is intentionally dishonest and leaves out important context in order to continue pushing their narrative. But anybody who's been on the internet knows that someone's going to look into this and call you out on your bullshit. I don't know why these guys keep trying to do stuff like this. Like, if you're going to try to pull a gotcha on somebody, at least do your fucking homework and find something that could actually be used as a accusation. This is just random bullshit that you're throwing at the wall and hoping it sticks. Like, okay.
Between December and this month, in my 20-year of law enforcement career, this one.
You know, with your complete obsession over Asmongold's following, you should be able to correlate that. Obviously, someone's going to look into your claims. Out of the several million people that watch him, that you constantly announce in this video over and over again, you didn't think that one of them was actually going to look into your claim and call you out? Like,
one of the most horrific crimes I've ever investigated.
It's terrible.
The facts and circumstances of the crime are beyond
Horrible.
depraved. One of the people who did the torturing and murder was a sex offender who lived in this hotel. And while there is no definitive proof...
And again, the sex offender was another gay man. Again, convenient context left out. But mind you, it would make his argument look stupid if he included that.
If this was or was not a hate crime, they asked the police captain, said such determination has not been ruled out, nor...
So wait a minute, you don't even know if it was a hate crime at all, and you're automatically... So not only... So let me get this straight. So not only do... is the implication that I'm complicit in or okay with having a person being killed because they're gay, but on top of that, it's not even confirmed that that's the reason why. The police aren't even saying that. Now, you're drawing this conclusion, and I think that there's a good chance that he could be right. But we don't even know this. So this is like level 2 dishonesty. It's second order lying.
second order lying.
Has the possibility
That's
of
a good
more
one.
arrests. So they don't know yet. But, I mean...
Excuse me.
Let's
Sorry.
just, for the sake of this conversation, assume...
So now we're just throwing out baseless accusations at people and getting emotionally upset without any actual proof that it could correlate to the thing that you're trying to use as an accusation. We're just spitballing in the dark for whatever sliver of relevance we can find to get mad at someone who disagrees with us. Damn, that's lame. That's pretty sad.
Assume that this very much probably was some sort of a hate crime, because this
I
is
would assume that it was too, but I mean the police don't, and I think that him
And now, like someone in the comments said, we know that it wasn't a hate crime and this has all been bullshit, and you made yourself look like a fucking asshole by using the story and not actually using your brain to figure out maybe this maybe I should wait for evidence to carry my point instead of making yourself look like a fucking dickhead. But would you be... Is anybody surprised that a middle-aged self-entitled retard on the internet's not going to do any homework? Come on.
framing it this way leads people to I wouldn't accuse and attack somebody off of that assumption. That's a bit much.
culture that...
This David guy reminds me of the type of guy that would walk through the park and would yell at any little kid that would minorly inconvenience him because he constantly needs that reassurance and that feeling of power over people. Like, just the way he looks at the camera whenever he's, like, doing stuff. It's so obnoxious, bro. I almost feel like this guy was a teacher or something at one point. And
people like Asmongold, in my opinion.
Yes. Please say that I promote killing transgender people. Please say it. I want to hear it, David.
Oh, he won't. You really think this guy can stick to one opinion? No. I've even kind of forgot what this guy was even trying to say. Like, I thought he was trying to say Asmon hates gay people, but now he's saying he doesn't. So what was the point of showing that story again? I'm confused.
It's intentional. I don't think he's asking or advocating for violence against people. I'm not saying he caused this at all. I think people should be responsible for their own actions, and this guy, I do defend his right to say whatever he wants. But I just, the amount of hate that is out there, and the amount of cruelty towards the LGBT community, and
I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't seem to understand on the internet, is that most of the hate and bigotry that comes from people isn't from people on the internet. The people you gotta be more worried about who dislike this stuff and are capable of hatred are the people not on Twitter and YouTube, but average Walmart-going Americans who don't really sit here and have conversations about this kind of stuff. They just don't like that, and that's it. You really think a couple million people on the internet are your problem? No, your problem is the other fucking 100 million people that aren't on the internet and you don't know who they are. They're just average people who also disagree with you. However, they're not going to have a conversation about this. They're going to vote against it and they're going to do something about it. Those are the people that you should be afraid of. Not us.
How that all you have to do is look at the news and listen to these people and stop treating them like
this weird thought process these people have come up with, that they think that most average people agree with this kind of stuff. No. How do you think Trump got elected again? Because he's a good president? Man. The copium.
Jokes and actually.
No, he got reelected again because a lot of average people are sick of a bunch of obnoxious, insane people trying to tell them what to do. So they brought in the insane president because they know he's actually going to do something about it. Congratulations. You played yourself.
Just be fucking human for a minute. And you realize just...
If you want people to not treat you like a joke, then don't act like one.
Yeah, good point. Like, if you don't want to look like a circus, don't act like a clown. You know, the few select people that were in this clip were acting like absolute insane people in a courtroom. Of course no one's going to take you seriously, and I don't think those people really represent the LGBT community. A lot of trans people don't act like this. These are just people that want to be put up on a cross. Like, these are just privileged, average people who clearly have things that are mentally wrong with them, and they're using the LGBT movement as a shield to act like a fucking psychopath. Which, in my opinion, is pretty shitty to do. You're using someone else's movement in order to be a psychopath. And then you get guys like this David guy who defend this behavior. No. If you want people to take you seriously, you can't throw a temper tantrum in a courtroom and screech like an insane person. It's called contempt of court. You act like this, that's it, you're done. Whole case is thrown out. You can't just go to court and act like a 6-year-old. That's not how this works.
If you act psychotic and if you act hysterical, you're rude, you're loud, people are going to think that you're an asshole.
Yeah, duh. Like,
that's
how is
it. It's literally that simple.
How
if
is
you
this,
behave,
how is this a shock to anybody? yeah, if you're gonna act like an insane asshole, you're probably gonna be treated like one. I'm like, what?
Like a joke, people are going to start laughing. There's no reason that this person needs to behave and act and speak the way that they did.
No, you can get your point across by talking in a respectful manner. No one's going to take your argument seriously when you're sitting there screaming like an absolute animal. You know, it's like those people that stand on milk crates and sit there with a megaphone and screaming at everybody that walks by saying that, you know, the rapture's coming and we're all going to burn in hell. Do we take those people seriously? Fuck no. Why is this any different?
And if you look at the actual LGBT activists that in the past actually made real change, and I'm talking about not just getting likes on Twitter, but actually changed the world and changed the way that people saw the world.
Yeah,
they didn't act like this.
Just like I said, these people are misrepresenting the LGBT movement and using it as a shield to be a piece of shit. And that's the point everybody's trying to make. But then you get guys like David here who want to call everybody a fucking grifter because we're pointing out that a few clowns are acting like a bunch of fucking circus freaks. And essentially making a group of people's movement look like a joke. You're not doing anybody any favors by virtue signaling for this type of behavior. There's plenty of people in the trans community that don't act like psychopaths. And I'm sure they also agree with what me and Asmin are saying, that people like this, representing them, looks really bad. But then you get guys like this who take what we're saying and it's like, we just want all gay people to die. Yep, round them up and shoot them in the street. Because we don't agree with you. No, I don't agree with anybody that acts like this. I don't care what you do in the bedroom or if you want to put a dress on or if you're a straight white guy. You act like a fucking piece of shit, you're going to get treated like one. It's pretty simple. It's really not that deep. Like, Jesus.
And that's true with any sort of social movement.
But then you get guys like David here who want to clip everybody out of context because it gives them a chance to pad their fucking egos, and then we never actually move past these problems because David here is the problem.
It's true with all of them. It's always these LARPers that probably live privileged lives that are looking for somebody to find they're desperately looking for a cross for somebody to nail them up to.
Oh, yep.
They're the ones that are doing this.
100%.
How much shit these people are dealing with and suffering through. And to be someone sitting up there with all of this guy's money, all of this guy's influence, me, Asmongold, and just go, you know what I'm going to do today?
Again, he keeps bringing up Asmongold's following and money. It sounds like you're just jealous, bro. Like, you've completely missed the point that you were talking about, and now you're just glazing Asmongold here, and I think most of us have even forgotten what this whole video was about to begin with. Like, if it wasn't on the screen, we'd all be like, what are you talking about? Why are you so obsessed with someone else's subscriber count and money? It's weird. It's just very strange behavior to make this whole attack video get all personal and emotional and then just keep talking about someone's career. Like, what? It just sounds like you're just mad that you're not in his position. That's it. You have no real point other than the fact that you're just a jealous little bitch.
Hey, I'm going to make money off the misery of this community. Now, do I think this lady up here, whoever's speaking, is a bit of a...
Well, unfortunately, when you post things on YouTube and you have a following, yes, you're going to make money. He should just intentionally demonetize his own videos to make your feelings better. Shut up.
A goofy person.
Say it.
Yeah, I mean, she's going...
You're not.
a goofy person. No, someone throwing a temper tantrum and screeching at a judge isn't someone being goofy. That is someone being insane. If this person wasn't behind a podium, I'd be afraid that they were going to jump and start scratching the judge's eyes out. And that's why they got kicked out of the courtroom, is because they were acting insane and potentially violent. Nobody wants to sit and have a conversation with somebody who acts like this. Well, I mean, you couldn't have a conversation with someone who acts like this. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with a toddler when they're having a temper tantrum? No, they're going to run around, scream, and shit in their hand, and they're going to throw it at you and then call you stupid.
They're nuts. They're fucking nuts. Like,
a goofy person.
so you even agree with me? Like, you're just mad that people, like, what is even the problem?
Out of her way to be.
It's like, can we just talk like adults nowadays and call a spade a spade? This isn't a goofy person. Asmongold's not a bigot. Just, come on. Speak like an adult, man. You don't like his viewpoint, and that's fine. But you don't sit here and use buzzwords like you're fucking 16. Speak like a fucking adult. Stand your ground. Be confident about your opinion. And quit pussyfooting around. It's so obnoxious and annoying when somebody's like, oh, well, I don't like you, but I do like you. Like, what is this? Just like 30 minutes of him jumping around all over the map and not able to stick to a train of thought?
Be flamboyant and get attention, and that's what she wants and that's what she needs to get her message out. And
but it's not getting the message out. It's doing the opposite effect. That's why the video that I did was so popular. That's the whole point that I'm making. It's that doing this, and the message that they're giving people is that this group of people is hysterical, obnoxious, psychotic, and rude. It's not benefiting anybody. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help their cause. It doesn't help people that are against them. It's just toxic to everything. That's the whole point of the conversation, is that you need to get these toxic, privileged narcissists out of social causes, go back to your fucking gated communities, and solve the problems in your own fucking life, rather than dragging around the cross looking for a cause that'll nail you up to it. It's
fucking thank you. Fucking well said. Clip that, motherfuckers.
Fucking obnoxious. It's annoying, and everybody can see it. It's exhausting.
Opens yourself up to that. But that said, though, Asmongold, read the fucking room, man. You can have your opinion. People can.
Did he just say read the room? Bro, anybody that's in the room can read it just fine. And I think we'd all agree that you're just an obnoxious retard and you should read the room. What an out-of-pocket thing to say when you have no ground to stand on. Read the room. Okay, bro. Sure.
Support.
I'm supposed to read the room when everybody you just said before that everybody was saying that I was right. So if I'm reading the room and you just complain that there's a lot of people in my room, it sure seems like I can read pretty well, huh?
Is Asmongold in the room with us right now? Sorry, I had to make the joke.
Respect your opinion, but what are you doing, man? You've got 3 million people who watch your shit. These people...
Yeah. Probably because it's got 3 million people that agree. I'm one of them. I agree with a lot of what he has to say because I actually pay attention to what he says, and I don't listen to things out of context so that I can pretend to play gotcha and derail conversations in order to, I don't know, feel like I'm a smartass or something. A lot of what his videos, if you watch them, a lot of what this guy's saying get shut down immediately because 90% of what he's accusing him isn't even true. As usual, here we go. Man, it must be rough having to constantly re-explain yourself over and over again, man. I feel bad for Asmund. But at the same time, you know, it's content for him, so I don't think we should all feel that bad. I'm sure he's loving it. I personally don't really care either way. I just really don't like people like this who pretend to be some kind of self-proclaimed freedom fighter, but the only fights that they actually battle are ones that they fabricate in their own heads.
People are dying. They're not coming for you, buddy. You gotta be.
No more people are dying than they usually do. You know, Trump. Just because Trump got elected doesn't mean people are rushing to the streets to kill trans people, okay? Maybe if you left your house once in a while and went out in public, you would know that.
You can't be as successful as you have been so far, Asmongold, and not recognize that there are people on both sides of all these kinds of arguments that use these as wedge issues to piss people off. And get.
You're completely right. That's a great point that he brings up, and I think that's absolutely true. And I said the same thing before about those protesters, those counter-protesters in New Zealand. I said that I disagree with them. I think that they're ridiculous.
Nope, again, like, if this guy just did a little bit of homework, he could have made himself look less like an asshole, because a lot of what he's giving Asmund shit for are things that he's constantly, over and over again, have reiterated that he agrees with you. Like, why are you mad? I'm so confused. Anyway, I think my fresh coffee's made. I'm gonna quickly go grab a cup, and there's a lot to unpack. Like, we're only 10 minutes into this fucking video, man. What is going on with people, man? It's crazy. But anyway, give me 2 minutes and I shall return momentarily. But hopefully not for too long. I love this little graphic. If you're watching on YouTube after the stream, skip ahead about 2 minutes. Oh, sorry about that. We are back. Just needed a little bit of caffeine. Ah! Jeez, me getting into my chair is so loud. Anyway, back to whatever this is. I gotta empty out my inventory. I almost got
They were
enough for the big bag.
anti-LGBT. I said that 2 days ago. I said it was ridiculous to do that. It's outrageous.
Constituents and folks mad that would contribute to their campaign or their PR.
Yes.
You must know that. And I don't think you have a responsibility to anyone but yourself. I'm not trying to shame you or anything. Not that my little...
Wow, really? You're gonna pull that one out, eh, Grandpa? Let me guess you're gonna say, you do better next. Oh, these people love that line. That's their favorite line to use whenever they're virtue signaling on people. Do better. Oh, man, it's so cringe. Can you do better and just stop talking?
channel could do that, but I'm not trying to make it like you are.
I mean, the video is titled
one
As
away. Come
Mongold. You
on.
spelled my name wrong. Should know and be better. Should know, do, / be better. I mean, I feel like that's kind of shaming, but okay, that's fine. And also, by the way, David, like, I'm a grown-ass man. I can handle this. I can handle criticism. You don't need to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to get my feelings fucking hurt. I'm not a little bitch on Twitter. I get it. I'm
Damn.
fine. I'm good.
True. Yeah, quit
because you have a
pussyfooting
big
around.
following, you have to be a quote good guy in my eyes. But could
Yeah.
you at
Oh, someone's talking shit.
least think before you hit publish or post or whatever the fuck you do?
Hello, Council.
This is him
Remember me?
reacting.
What do you mean, whatever the fuck you do? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really buy this and think it's funny. And again, you can hate this lady.
They're not. I've showed my demographics before. David is part of my core audience. I've got a lot of Davids in my core audience. I was driving home from the gas station today. I walked out to the parking lot, and there was a guy that looked a little bit kind of like David, about the same age. Hey! Yeah, so actually, that's not really the case.
And you can hate everything she stands for, but for the love of God, could you at least acknowledge that this guy's full of shit? Do you really think this is a real, genuine laugh? So, it's like,
What?
I respect the audience more. And it's like, really, dude? But hey, if they buy...
What's this guy going on about now? I kind of skipped out for a minute there. Who's laughing? And never
Hey,
mind.
they buy it, man. I love the WWE. I know it's bullshit. Maybe people know this bullshit, too. I don't know.
Well, maybe if you knew all, if you're so good at understanding bullshit, why do you not understand half of what you're saying is bullshit? This is like the WWE of hate campaigns. It's not even good.
Here he goes. This will take a while, but let's enjoy.
Let's go back. We're gonna go forward. I'll go to the end.
We'll see what stands up in court. Uninformed.
What?
Do
What
you
about
think
court?
all of this is
People that we need to task to know.
nation? Think these you're
What
so
are we talking about
in
court
order for
now,
the top 1% to get tax breaks? Do you think these you're so uninformed?
What? I thought we were talking about someone getting murdered and trans people and all. What? How are we talking about this now? I'm so confused. We're just jumping around all over the map now.
Do you think all of this is what it sounds like this guy believes? All of these institutions that are being chopped by Doge.
Well, if you've watched any of his videos, you would know that's inherently untrue, but okay.
And Trump, or at least attempting to be. We'll see what stands up in court, but attempting to be. Do you guys really think the savings of those particular bodies in government that costs money is going to be passed on to the consumer? Do you think your egg prices are really going to go down? No, it's to pay for the tax.
I'm not even. I'm not
Why are we talking about eggs all of a sudden? Bro can't even stay on topic.
following this at all. I'm very confused. Maybe I'm coming in halfway through the point.
Tax breaks for the top 1%. This is documented.
I literally just spent an hour
Is it?
arguing with people to
Can
where
you
I think
present
that
that
there should be more
document?
entitlement programs.
No, I didn't
like
think so.
literally an hour, and so like we don't really need to retread the same ground. Everybody knows that that's not what I believe.
Wait, this guy's video is over an hour long? Oh no, it's only 16 minutes. Okay. I was gonna say, like,
In economic policy, I am probably one of the most left-leaning people that there is.
The idea that he says, well, that's how we get where we are. Where are we?
I don't
Where
know.
exactly are we? How are you suffering under the last 15 or 20 years? Certainly compared to the
Bro, you don't even know where you are or what you're talking about anymore, so just stop.
LGBT community, you're not. How are you suffering over the last 20 years by the fact that, oh, there is a Institute of National Health? How, you know, the only thing that might have bothered you for is because maybe they say, hey, you can't, you know, cohabitate with roaches and rats, and thus.
Oh, now we're getting personal now, I see. It's always funny how these people who virtue signal always got to throw in a couple personal slams about, like, your appearance or, like, the way you live, because they know that they have no real ground to stand on, so, you know, they just gotta be shit-talking retards in order to somehow dehumanize the person that they are essentially talking shit about. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you.
I don't have a problem with the Ministry of Health. That's fine. But to act like everything that they're doing is a good idea, I think that's an issue. Uh-huh.
That forced you to clean your fucking house. Maybe that was it, and you have a bone to pick with these guys. I don't know.
Man, this guy's got a
And
weird,
again, I don't have
weird
any
obsession.
personal issues with Asmongold. I really don't.
After two personal insults.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm not here. You know what?
I don't have a personal issue against you, but I'll just make two very personal insults about your appearance and the way you live. Yeah, okay, buddy. Sure.
I don't give a fuck. Start beef, whatever. I'm,
Yes.
I'm 53 years old, but I have.
If you're 53 years old, then maybe you should understand the basic concept of if you're going to start some shit, you're probably going to get some shit back. Don't be throwing rocks when you're living in a glass house. It's pretty simple. You don't want to get flack, don't give it. Don't dish it if you can't take it. I mean, I could go on for hours about other ways of saying that. Like, if you're 53 years old, maybe it's time to grow the fuck up.
Have a beautiful, wonderful, goddamn trans son,
Okay.
and I have LGBT people all up in.
I'm sure that's true. Rolls eyes. So he's using the argument, I'm not bigoted, I have trans friends. Like, it somehow makes his point more valid. Okay. Sure.
Down my family, and even if I didn't, I'm a goddamn human being who makes enough money that I don't have to worry where my next paycheck is coming from. And you know good and
Good for
goddamn
you.
well, as
That's nice. I thought you were talking about how people like Asmon and his audience paint trans people in a bad light, and now you're talking about how much money you make. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier because I can actually stay on topic. It sounds like this whole video is just you being a jealous little bitch about how much money someone makes, and you're sad that you're not in the same situation. That's basically what I got from this whole thing. I don't like this whole video just makes it sound like you're just sad that you're not in the same position as Asmongold because you feel like you would be able to do it better than he is. I mean, if you could just be honest and admit it, then we'd all respect you a lot more.
Asmongold does too. But so here's the point. People like us, Asmongold, and you're certainly way up on the pecking order compared to me. But
people like us. Okay. Wait, you're talking about, like, YouTubers? I went through this guy's channel and I looked at a lot of his videos, and majority of his videos are just him talking shit about other people. It's really ironic that the guy sitting here telling everybody else to be better is, in actuality, an even bigger piece of shit himself. So he does this stuff, this content, to virtue signal on other people, and that's why no one watches it or takes him seriously. Like, how do you have almost 60,000 subscribers, but most of your videos get under 1,000 views? You can bot your subscribers, but you can't bot the metrics of who's actually watching the content. Either that, like, you want to sit here and you want to talk about who makes the most money and flex your subscriber count. It really doesn't track. But anyways. And yes, I know I'm a 20 subscriber and my videos get like 40 views, but I'm also not flexing and constantly talking about other people's income. I just make my content because I find it fun. And you seem like you have a personal vendetta against everybody that's doing better than you, which is kind of weird, sad, and pathetic. But anyways.
People who don't have to worry about how to pay their bills, could you stop fucking muddying the waters and punching down at people that need, if nothing else, if you don't like them, their lifestyle.
So
what he's trying to say is if you make a certain amount of money, you need to keep your opinions to yourself? No, fuck that. Rich or poor, you have a right to your opinion. Like, what a weird thing to say.
he views this as punching down because I'm making fun of these people. I actually think that a lot of these people are mentally disturbed. And I don't think that they're mentally disturbed because they're gay or trans.
No, and that's what everybody's been saying non-stop. We're not making fun of these people because of their sexual orientation. Most people are making fun of them because they're acting like absolute deranged lunatics. These people should be medicated or at least looked after. This isn't normal behavior, and it's actually damaging to their lives to let them flail around in society without getting the mental help they need, because they're eventually just gonna destroy themselves. Like they're doing right now by having an absolute crash out in the middle of a courtroom, and they're actively making their own movement look really bad because of it.
I think that they're mentally disturbed in other ways too. The way that this person is acting is not the way that a normal person would act in any sort of natural situation. And I think that in a lot of cases, these people actually do need help, and they do need to have a higher degree of medical support, mental medical support, because there's a lot of stuff that's wrong with them. There are. And I do think that. And I think that constantly just...
oh, yeah. We got the bigger sack, finally. Fuck, that took forever. Okay, there's nothing else I can unlock. Hang on, sorry, I'll get back to the video in a second. I do want to get the coal bag and the gem bag. I don't know what the gem bag is going to be useful for, but probably will be in the future. The coal bag I need for turning all this stuff into bars. What am I at now? Jeez, I almost got 10,000 coal. I got 4... Can have a lot of smithing. Hell yeah, brother. How big is my sack now? Oh, it's only 189. That's not much. Whatever. It's less trips down. That's all that matters. Anyway, back to the video.
Like, kind of just pacifying them and telling them, oh, it's okay, you're right, all of this stuff. I don't think that that's created a positive result. I think that what that's done is that's enabled them to become more extreme, more radicalized, and more upset.
And more self-destructive.
And so when I look at how to help somebody, helping somebody isn't always doing what they want. That's not helping somebody. That's making yourself feel good.
Yep.
Well, their quote choices, just ignore them. They're not hurting anybody. At worst, just ignore.
No, they're hurting themselves and they're being annoying, which is... It might not hurt people directly, but you have enough people running around society acting like raving lunatics, you're going to get sick and tired of it. Nobody wants to have to deal with this type of behavior from grown-ass adults. No, I'm not just gonna fucking ignore it when a bunch of people are acting like crazy assholes. Fuck that. We were doing that before, and now they're running the asylum.
Ignore them. But at best, maybe stop making videos that communicate to your very impressionable audience that these people...
Oh, I'm so impressionable, bro. Yeah, I don't have any thought of my own. I don't... I'm just so fucking stupid. Because I agree with somebody on a few things. Yeah, okay, bro. You know, you're not building a very good case for yourself trying to start a fight with everybody. On no basis, by the way.
People are the enemies. You want to send them to the enemies? Fuck, man. Send them to the health companies. Send them to the fucking pharmaceutical.
There's probably at least 100 videos of him doing that. Again, a lot of what you're saying, we all agree with you on. The only thing that nobody agrees with you on is the fact that you think we're inciting violence on trans people. Like, you didn't do any homework. You seen a clip on Twitter, and then you got all emotional, and now you're just being a fucking dick. Nobody wants to listen to some obnoxious asshole tell people what they're already doing.
Everything that Luigi said and did besides killing the guy, I agree with. I believe for and I advocate in single-payer healthcare. I would have voted for Bernie Sanders for president, and if he ran again, I'd vote for him even now.
Pharmaceutical companies. Send them to fucking Meta. Send them to,
Man, it's almost like, I even have some videos of my own on this stuff. Yeah, we're impressionable, and we follow Asmongold blindly, and we don't agree about any of these things that you're talking about, even though Desmond's got videos, I got videos, I'm sure there's at least 1 million people out of this 3 million people that also have their own videos talking about the same topics that you're getting all up in your goddamn feelings about. Because you didn't do any research, and now you're just swinging around in the dark at everybody, and it's just, I don't get it. It would have taken 5 minutes to realize that you're just arguing nothing at all. We all agree on pretty much everything you said. And you just sound like an asshole. Yeah, go do this, go do that. We're already doing that, bro. My most popular video is about how fast food companies and grocery stores are charging way too much goddamn money for shit. But I also do have videos about how game developing companies have been using LGBT movement and stereotyping them to put them in their games in order to use their movement as a shield to hide from criticism, but while making the games bad. Like, we can all have conversations about this stuff. Just because you don't watch it doesn't mean you can sit here and tell us what to do.
Send them to Meta? Great fucking idea. Amazing idea.
Yeah.
I think that social media companies should be massively regulated.
I have a video about that too. I also have a video about hate speech giving people jail time, and I completely agree that should happen. But it's funny how what I said came true about how that hate speech, who decides what that is? Well, somebody who says something about killing LGBT people, yes, obviously I agree, put them in jail. But then you get people like the person from Activision Blizzard who was trying to rationalize essentially ethnic cleansing anybody who voted for Trump. And the worst that happened to him is he got fired from his job. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think advocating for murdering millions of people because they disagree with your political beliefs is considered a hate crime, if not terrorism. And should definitely get some jail time. So, like, a lot of this stuff we all talk about. It's just like... But, you know what? It's hard to explain things to somebody who fabricates bullshit in their own head so that they can make themselves mad and act emotional and then try to drag everybody down to their level because they have nothing better to do with their time but to tell other people what to do and to be better when, in reality, you yourself are actually the piece of shit here. It's ironic.
Regulated, and they should have that regulation, and I think they deserve it because they enjoy a privilege with Section 230 that allows them to make billions of dollars on other people's work that they have no right to.
All right?
Completely agree with you again. And I've criticized, by the way, I've criticized all of this in the past. I don't know if this is going to come up for anything. No, not a whole lot. Australia to ban children from social media. I was very positive about this. I was also very positive about this as well. Using social media. This could be, I don't really know. Social media is fucking us up. You're going to see me saying this as well. If you look at any of my content that I've discussed on social media, it's been the same thing every single time.
Yeah, I too am a big advocate for more regulation online. Especially when it comes to things like scams and allowing 14-year-olds to have access to content that adults consume. A lot of this stuff, man. Like, yes, I believe there should be a lot more regulation on social media. Not just for that stuff. I also just don't want to hear a teenager's opinion on what's going on in Gaza. You know?
I've been consistent in this.
Cast. Send them to the goddamn car lobbyists that keep us.
Again, I've talked about this too. I think that Mercedes having a paid subscription to access heated seats in their cars is extremely problematic. I've brought it up countless times. I mean, we could do this all day. I'm pretty sure everything that you are going to say, we've already done. You know, you're kind of like Microsoft Edge here, where you're just kind of slow on the pickup. And if you were if you did a little bit more homework, you'd stop making yourself so mad.
It's from being able to have energy efficient and less expensive public transportation. Use your...
I agree. I think public transportation fucking sucks now. It takes longer to take the bus to get anywhere. They're usually really dirty. The drivers are usually fucking assholes. And it's more expensive to take the bus than it is to drive anywhere. At least in my city it is. When I was going to school, it would take me an hour and a half to bus to school. It would cost me $7 and then another hour and a half and $7 to get back. That's 3 hours plus $15 a day to transit to school. Yes, I agree, that's fucking bullshit. And then I fixed my car, and it cost me $20 a week and 15 and 30 minutes in total to drive to school. So it takes 3 times the amount of money and time to take public transportation. I completely agree on that. Again, things that have been talked about before, but again, you're all emotional and in your head, and you just want to yell at people for whatever reason. I don't know why. But again, no one's disagreeing with you on these things.
You're fucking
wait, let me listen to that again.
car lobbyists that keep us from being able to have energy efficient and
Great point. Absolutely great point. And I remember when Tesla was trying to break into the market, and there was a lot of lobbying and like initial corporate like support to try to suppress Tesla from getting into the market and introducing electronic vehicles into the market. This happened over 10 years ago. I was totally on Tesla's side, and I think that almost everybody else who cared about legitimate free markets was also on Tesla's side as well. I also, even as far back as 2009, signed up for and wanted to work. They actually called me. I ended up not doing it. To work at Greenpeace to promote also not only contraceptives for like Planned Parenthood, but also things like environmental stability and environmental conservative efforts. This is something I did. I was 19 years old at the time. I have political signs that I was advocates for whenever I was still in high school, a teenager. I've got Obama, fucking Ron Paul. Like, you can L it or W it all you want, but my point is that this has actually been what changed? Nothing.
Yeah. This is such a boomer thing to do, to get mad at everybody for things that they're already doing. These guys, they sit here and they just want to tell everybody what to do. That's it. That's all there is to it. Just another boomer with a boomer take, getting mad at the younger generations because we don't agree with their worldviews, and we're doing all the things that he's telling us that we're not doing. It's just like, okay, Santa Claus, shut the fuck up.
Thing changed. I've been saying this the whole time.
less expensive public transportation. Use your fucking influence for something other. I mean, imagine having all the power and the influence this guy has.
Again, he just keeps bringing up all the power that Asman has. Just say you're jealous, bro. Just say that you want what he has, and we could all move on and cut the bullshit. It's fine to be envious of other people's success. There's nothing wrong with that. But once you start going around and talking all this shit for no goddamn reason and trying to convince everybody else that they're a bad person because you're upset that you're not in the same situation they are, it's annoying.
And who does he pick on? The LGBT community.
Oh, yeah.
It's because they're doing this and they try to put this in like, let me think of a good way to say this, like, that makes sense. These are people who want everybody else to comply with them, and they don't think that they should be questioned, and they think they can tell everybody else how to act and how to behave.
Yeah. An ideology that is immune to criticism should never exist. Wasn't there a regime in Germany that also had the same kind of idealism? Yeah, let's bring that back. Let's just tell people that they can't disagree with something, and if they do, well, they're a fascist, and they should be killed. You know, the only people that I see advocating for any violence are the people who defend this stuff. Same people that are defending illegal immigrants who walk around the street with multiple cases of sexual assault and other assault charges, and you know, their argument for that is, well, who's going to work at Chipotle? You know, oh no, they're going to get rid of my Mexican servants. It's just so stupid. Like, I genuinely am curious if these people really listen to half the things that come out of their mouths. But then I'm reminded that they genuinely believe that we should have illegal immigration so that they can have people work at Chipotle for them. And they don't see that as racist. And then anybody who disagrees with them should be murdered. Okay. Calm down there. Calm down, Hitler. It's fine. Oh crap! No, now I'm doing what they're doing, and I'm getting emotionally charged. My bad. Whew, good thing I caught myself on that one. I wouldn't want to start doing that.
That's the reason why. They're aggressive, they're hostile, and they're rude to people. Yeah. That's the reason why.
Weird. Weird. People don't want to deal with people that are constantly rude and hostile towards them. Shocker.
Yasmin Gold, to read up.
This is total emotional manipulation, and it doesn't work 100%. On me at all. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Some guy gets killed, and I'm supposed to now agree with everything that an LGBT person says and say that they're right about everything? Doesn't make any sense. It's completely illogical. You can, like, how many of you guys think that this is disgusting and think that the person I was watching was retarded?
Hands up. Yep. Everybody. Well,
me. Literally fucking everybody. Yeah. Fucking everybody thinks this.
His name was Sam Nordquist. He was 24 years old. He's dead now. He was tortured. He was murdered. Never did anything.
Well, and even the statistics agree with us too. Go to his page. The only videos that the only videos that have any relevance are the ones that he makes talking shit about other people on the platform.
Wrong. Except have the fucking confidence, the fucking bones to fucking...
Bro, you don't even have the confidence or bones to be confident about your own opinion. Shut the fuck up.
Be who he is.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. That
project more,
now,
old
I
man.
I would also come to the assumption that it was true. But the police said that they don't know that. So that means you don't know that either. And neither do I.
Yeah. And I think anybody with any common sense could have drawn that conclusion. So, hats off to you, David.
But, I guess that's not good enough for you, Asmongold. He doesn't pass the cool check. That's
right. That's right.
The cool check.
That's right. Because I think this person's ridiculous. I want a trans person to be tortured and killed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Totally logical. Completely makes sense.
Totally rational response.
Is it Asmon's fault? Absolutely. Let's be clear. Of course not. But could he do better? Yeah, he could, and he should.
So if I could do better and it's not my fault, then why are you bringing it up? You're bringing it up because you're linking me to it to try to create an emotional manipulation to say that my language and my criticism of this leads to that happening, which is a disgusting mischaracterization, and it's not true in any capacity. And
100%. Everybody can see it too. It's crazy to me that everybody else can see what you're trying to do here except yourself. Very strange. A little bit weird. I don't know what happened in your life that you need to emotionally manipulate people on the internet, but you may want to get the same medical help that these people that you're trying to virtue signal for. And then we could all have a better society.
And anybody that watches my content would know that immediately.
He should fucking be ashamed of himself, is what I would say. He won't be, probably.
No,
maybe
I'm not.
He will, but he probably won't be. But if you watch him, maybe you should hold your heroes to a higher standard, because this is not it, my friends.
I'm holding you, David, to a higher standard. Hate to break it to you. But none of these people on YouTube are my hero. But I do respect Asmon a lot more than you, because he's not intentionally dishonest and just essentially dick riding for fame.
Yourself to a higher standard. Quit using emotional manipulation.
Yep.
It's not going to work. That's what it is. And you use these implications and you think that people can't see it. It's obvious what you're trying to do.
Very obvious.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's obvious. So, anyway, yeah. If anything, I'll link it. Like, and here's the thing with David, is that
it's not the first time that he's been
acting
like an idiot.
I think David's a bit of a jackass, But I can respect, and like, I do, that's fine, that's fine.
I don't hate the guy either, but I do think he's a fucking asshole.
I think that he's intentional.
But I guess that means I want him dead now, right? Since this is the emotional blackmail that I got from this video. If you dislike somebody, that means you want to see them dead. What the fuck? No, I don't want to see him hurt. But I do think he's a fucking stupid asshole. He's obnoxious. He's basically just... He's an obnoxious virtue signaling dickhead. Do I want to see him stop making these videos? Probably not, because I get entertainment out of them. So you know what? Keep it up. And no, I would never want to see him harmed in any physical way, because I'm not a crazy person, and I don't think people that I disagree with should be harmed. Like, fucking duh.
Misrepresenting me, and I don't like that. Thinking you're smarter than everyone else in the room is hilarious and sad.
Yeah,
Is it me or him? I don't know. What is this? Okay, yeah, no, you're unhappy about what I said. People thought MLK was insane and a sociopath. What the fuck are you on about? What's the what's your point? People thought MLK was insane, a sociopath, and the CIA stalked him relentlessly.
So we have a Martin Luther King hater here. We got a Free the Slaves disliker. That's new. While he runs a rainbow as his background picture. Interesting. I can't wait to see what sane thoughts come from this person. Oh boy. I'm sure this will be not deranged.
I'm just so confused.
Right?
I'm so fucking confused right now. This goes way back to what you were saying. And what would that be?
We got another Gotcha Andy in chat.
What would that be? Look at the timestamps. Oh. I'm far healthier weight than you, and I still think you're disgusting retarded on this take. So why aren't you fat? So
what?
So you're mad that I was saying that... So you're still mad about the fat thing? Is that what's going on? I'm just really confused.
This guy's crashing out because of a fat comment. Oh boy. Well, I'm a fat fuck too. You don't see me crying about it. Jesus.
It's two entirely different discussions.
What?
Yeah, because like if you're mad about the fat thing, like we're just gonna like, I mean, you just say, I mean, like I think probably gonna ban you because you're really getting in, you're getting a little bit too personal. You're getting too extreme. You gotta like, are you gonna dial shit down? Are you gonna relax, or are you gonna just keep acting like this? Because if you're gonna keep acting like this, you're just gonna get banned, right?
Keep crashing out.
I don't want to deal with this level of hostility. I don't think I deserve it. Hold on. All right, I'll relax. That's fine. That's fine. Just chill out. Just chill the fuck out, man.
Yeah, it was a fat joke. Relax.
Holy
crap.
And so, didn't even do nothing? No, I didn't. Like, look. We don't need to talk about this. Like, I don't want to get into the fat debate again because, like, we already got out of it. I don't want to get back into it, etc. Right? And so, yeah. And today's a holiday. We'll get asylums. I don't know. They're talking about people acting insane, but it's proving your point. Yeah, 100%. Bro, pull me up. Read most of the things that I've said when it comes to trans topics. Let me, with a trans person with common sense, spit the facts. I personally don't like these people who put so much hate on you whenever it comes to these topics. It's not fair. I think that there's a lot of people who are of different identities that understand that that's not the kind of stuff that I put forward.
No. There's plenty of sane people on all ideologies. We're talking about the ones who are insane. Who paint these ideologies in a bad light. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the trans community. I think there's something wrong with the very small minority of very loud, obnoxious assholes who paint them in a bad light. And it has nothing to do with their ideology. It has everything to do with their behavior. I don't give a fuck, man. Like, if you want to cut your genitals off and wear a dress, whatever. But the second you start spurging out and crashing out in public and causing everybody else distress, that's when I have a fucking problem with you. And there are plenty of other people that I put in a light that do the same thing that aren't trans. It's real simple. You want to fucking act like a psychopath in public, I think you're probably going to have some problems. It's real simple. Okay? Chill the fuck out. Get your shit together. And then people will stop being mad at you. This isn't as deep as people like to try to make it. Just don't act like an insane person in public. It's really not... We're not asking a lot. Like...
And I've always been very outspoken. Like, so this is like another like kind of meta level thing with me, is that I'm very much an accelerationist, and I'm very much a believer in technology and like futurism. And so I believe the future is transhumanism in a lot of capacities.
Oh yeah,
and I think that people's digital identities will, to a certain...
No, and again, I 100% in the future, yes, people will become more socially acceptable of the trans community after we stop allowing bad actors to paint them in a bad light. All we want is to have the people that are acting like crazy people in public to get their shit together. That's it. Because what's going to happen is you're gonna do these things, and then people who aren't going to think, well, maybe this is only a few people. No, you're going to have people generalize. And you're going to have a lot of them because average Walmart going Americans don't have a lot of time to give a shit. They're just going to see a crazy person acting crazy, and they're going to think everybody in that group of people is the same way.
Certain degree overtake their biological identities as we move closer towards that degree of transhumanism. So I actually think that a lot of the current time and contemporary trans arguments and stuff like that, I think that they're going to become increasingly more complex. And I think that a lot of the current talking points that we have now will not be as strong in 30 years from now because of the way that technology, medical developments, and everything surrounding them in society are going to evolve. What are you on about? Oh, I'm crazy. Oh no, it's absolutely, I'm crazy. No, my real opinions on this are nuts. And so I'm usually hiding my power level whenever I discuss like this. Interesting take. Yeah, I think so. Can you have a graph that should determine how someone is part of the fat camp? I think people are misinterpreting.
He's gone
what you call
Super
fat.
Saiyan.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like morbidly obese, like 50 pounds overweight. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to attach a number to it because it depends on somebody's height, right? I mean, so and muscle content, like bodybuilders, etc. So yeah, it's not what you think. It's about you. It's about people being simple and creating thousands of nut jobs with your commentary. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that think that, but these people also.
Esmond's not creating nut jobs. These people would have been nut jobs long before any kind of influence. Because if you're able to have somebody influence the way you act on a personal level, I hate to break it to you, but you're not very smart. And you probably already were insane. This is just reassuring that behavior. That's it. And I'm not going to ask people to stop doing what they do because a bunch of fucking insane people can't control their own behaviors.
So create nut jobs with their commentary too. And I think that I'm entitled to have my voice and call out antisocial, extreme, hostile, vitriolic, and anti-productive behavior whenever I want.
Agreed.
And I think that the people that are supporters of those causes should be doing it more than I am, because if you can't root out your own extremists, then you're going to be defined by them. I think a great example is recently a lot of people have been critical of me because there were a lot of people saying like W Nazis, etc. The fact is that we banned all of those people and all of their accounts are gone on Twitch, etc. But at the same time, you do have people that are saying, well, this is what Asmon's community is, right? This is what Asmon like has in his chat. And that's true in some circumstances. I guarantee you there's somebody who's watching me here right now who's a racist. Guaranteed. Promise you. But the fact...
Well, and yeah, you're not going to be able to stop those people from watching. Duh. Like... I'm pretty sure this is all basic common sense shit. But I say that, and then I'm proven wrong constantly.
Fact is that if you don't moderate it and you don't deal with it and try to at least
Where's my character going?
come to an understanding with people like that, you become defined by them. And so that's why that's why I'm like that. A report is saying that the people who killed the 24-year-old were part of the LGBTQ community. Wait,
there
what?
it is.
What happened to...
Yeah, alright, I guess it was in the video. So, this entire tirade that David went on wasn't even a hate crime to begin with. Damn, bro. What's it like to be such a fucking dick?
Sam Nordquist. Suspects knew Nordquist and were part of the LGBTQ community, sus police say. So they were also... Wait, what? Friendly fire? Basically, yeah.
So...
Well, I mean...
So, a few crazy people decided to... Man, I love how this David guy tried to use this story as a way to paint us as crazy people, and all he did was give light to the fact that there are more people using the trans community as a safety net to do insane fucked up shit. Not saying that the trans community is at fault for this, I'm just saying that there are people who are utilizing their movement to inflict harm on other people. You damaged your own fucking point and argument by using this story. Man, it's almost like people who virtue signal are just really stupid.
And it makes sense. It does, because people's behavior and their capacity to violence is not directly correlated with their sexuality.
Exactly.
So there can be gay people or trans people that are totally normal and get along with everyone and everything's fine, and other ones that are crazy. Same with straight people. So this is...
Yes, thank you. This is what I've been saying for years. Nobody is mad that you're trans. Nobody is mad that you're straight. If you do crazy shit and you act like a crazy person, you're going to be treated like a crazy person. I don't know why people like to play this mental gymnastics all the time and try to derail the conversation and be like, oh, you just hate gay people. No. I hate people acting like petulant assholes in public. Like... But no, they'll take it out of context and it'll be like, oh, you just hate X or Y, instead of taking what you say. It's just... Everyone's got to have some sort of cross to die on nowadays, and it's so cringe and pathetic, bro. Everyone's a self-proclaimed fucking freedom fighter, and when there's no real-life problems happening, they have to fabricate them in their head, and they gotta find whatever sliver of relevance they can have. And there it is. The story that David was using to say that what Asmon was saying influenced people to go out and torture and murder a trans person turns out to be a lie, and it was actually trans people who committed this horrific crime. Now, again, I want to reiterate that I don't think it has anything to do with them being trans. They are just insane, crazy people who are using their movement as a shield, as most of these people do. You have a small amount of crazy people who are taking advantage of a movement designed for people to just want to live their lives, and they're weaponizing it in a way that is harmful to not just society but the trans community themselves. But instead of, seeing the reason in what we're trying to say, people want to clip us out of context, and then we just go right back to where we were at the beginning of this conversation. And to David, I would like to say, do better.
This entire idea that, like, and this shouldn't really,
or at the very least, do some goddamn research.
Be a surprise to anybody, right? Because that's just what happens. I was saying, look at the mugshot. Yeah, look at this. Wow, so they were actually part of the LGBTQ community. Suspected were arrested after police searched their last place was staying. To help alleviate the understandable concern his murder could be a hate crime, we are disclosing that Sam and his assailants were known to each other, identified as LGBTQ+, and at least one of the defendants lived with Sam in the time period leading up to the instant offense.
See? This was a mentally disturbed person that ended up hurting somebody. Had nothing to do with their sexuality or anything else. This was just a mentally disturbed person. And again, we keep defending this behavior, and more people are getting hurt. And instead of actually calling a spade, you're painting us out to be the villains because we notice this stuff and are pointing it out.
Wow. That sucks.
That is really fucking shitty. Yep.
Yeah, that really sucked. That's really sad. It is, David.
And the worst part about this is there's going to be a lot of people on the other side of this argument that are going to use this story as a gotcha to reverse it and say, look, trans people are actually monsters. And again, we just keep circling the drain here. Humans are just hamsters stuck in a motherfucking wheel doing the same stupid bullshit over again because none of us can come to an agreement because we're all fucking full of ourselves, and we just, yeah. It's sad. It really is. So that was that one. Jeez. That was quite the video. I was not expecting that to be as much of a conversation point as it was. What else do we got here? Oh god, I'm really behind. Son Piker, I ain't even gonna touch that one. No thanks. There was one about ice raids that I was curious about. I'll find it in a second. But yeah, crazy. Again, just another ill-informed person who thinks they know what they're talking about, starting a commotion. And then we find out at the end of the entire video it was all bullshit to begin with. Shocker. And as usual, you have another boomer doing what boomers do best, which is just talking out their ass with no actual evidence to show for it. Great. But at least you were able to pat yourself on the back, eh, David? You got your good boy points for 24 hours. And then it turns out that you were just a liar. The gaming industry is 100% cooked. Uh-oh. What's going on?
Gaming industry lost its mind. True.
Recently, a nasty little conversation has reared its ugly head yet again, and it's that the video game industry believes that it's time for games to be $100 or more.
Jesus.
Okay.
Mark my words.
You want to make games $100 or more, then you got to make them worth $100 or more. I mean, duh. You want $100 for something, give me a reason to give you $100 for it. You can't just produce something that looks like it came out of the discount bin at Walmart 10 years ago and then slap a $100 price tag on it and expect people to just jump at that. Wait, what? No. That's not how this works. Anyway.
If this is the path that the industry chooses to follow, this will likely lead to the largest collapse this industry has ever seen. They think that the layoffs, closures...
Well, I don't think it'll cause a collapse. What's just going to happen is the companies that aren't willing to put the work in will end up getting... essentially have the rug pulled from underneath them, while other developing companies will fill the holes in the market, kind of like what Marvel Rivals did with the whole hero shooter genre. They've seen an opening in the market, and they've seen that Western developers were kind of shit in the bed, and they slapped their dick on the table and said, "Here's how you do it."
and canceled games are bad now, you haven't seen anything yet. The players already have a long list of reasons as to why not to buy games today, and you want to go and add an even bigger reason to that list? Likely.
Here's a good example, right? Is that you can use the inflation argument as much as you want, but they made Kingdom Come Deliverance for like 41 million bucks, and Black Myth Wukong was for like 60, 70, or 80 million. So, like, really all this is going to end up doing is it's going to make you non-competitive in the market because you're competing in a global marketplace with different currency rates. And
pretty much what I just said. Yeah, you'll just become obsolete and then someone else will take your place. Because that's what happens in a free market. You know, I can't just go to work and produce shitty welds and then expect to keep getting paid for that.
and different rates of payment. And so if you have places on other parts of the world that are making the product way cheaper than you are, and the product is relatively similar, then, and you know, the problem here is that it's actually better, is that you're going to just lose in the free market. You're signing your own death warrant. That's it.
The vast majority of players, the reason that will be at the very top of their list. You know, for years now, we've heard about how they think that the video game industry bubble is going to burst because there's just been so much investor interest over the years. The wages have increased, the cost of development and marketing has gone up, and the long development cycles that these games are in, 7 to 10 years in some cases, is just not making these games financial.
Well, if you spend less money and resources on things that your audience doesn't care about, you'll probably be able to cut the cost of your games from $400 million to whatever Black Myth Wukong spent, which I think was, as I said, like $61 million or something. Like, all this time and money wasted on things like asymmetric lighting and oversaturated shadows and realistic looking hair follicles and stuff that most people have to turn off unless they have a $10,000 PC, otherwise it's going to run like garbage. And like most of the stuff that you won't even see on a console unless you have like a 4K TV. These aren't things that average people are going to care about because average people can't afford them. If you just make the games good and fun without all this extra bullshit, then you could probably get $100 for them. it really is just that simple of a solution. Just do your job. How is it that a game like Concord took 8 years and $400 million to develop, but then you have something like Marvel Rivals that took a fraction of the cost and time? Either you're hiring complete and competent staff, or you're doing something that's wasting time. Like, you're focusing on something that obviously is a waste of time and money, and you need to stop. Whatever it is. Otherwise, well, that's the beauty of a free market. You either succeed or you don't. And it's completely up to you whether you do or not.
Financially viable. These big AAA, these big shiny AAA games are too expensive to make for such little return.
Yeah.
So they've gotten themselves thinking, whoa.
Like, you remember that game that was Ubisoft? I can't remember who it was. The quadruple A game that was an absolute colossal failure. Yeah.
How do we fix this issue? What's the actual problem here? I mean,
You fire all the people who have useless jobs that contribute nothing to the actual product. You narrow down the scope of your projects. You take down the, you look at the 80-20 rule and you see where 80% of your fucking money is going for like water physics. You fire all of those people. You get rid of everybody there that has a job because they, somebody else says they needed a job to manage somebody who manages somebody else. And you get people in there that do work.
Exactly.
That's the way you do it. The DEI, well, I mean, of course you fire them. They're done, right? But like, you do that.
Oh yeah, no, the DI thing is a total waste of money. Like, their jobs thrive upon problems. Why would you want something like that in your company? Like, if they solved the inequality issue, their job wouldn't matter. So, obviously, they're going to create a situation that makes their job relevant by not being inclusive. Like, duh. And also giving people an advantage based off of inherent characteristics such as gender and race kind of sounds like something that we already did, or at least our grandparents and great-grandparents did. Just because you rebrand it doesn't make it any more racist. I mean, congratulations, you guys are getting your turn with the whip now. But calling it equality and inclusion when you're doing the opposite is just kind of weird.
Like, you're going to have games. You're going to have no problems. That's it. Like, you fire useless people that don't do anything, that create no real product. Like, they're not doing anything, they're not adding anything to the game. Like, you ask yourself, like, is this person adding value to the game at a rate that their cost?
And also, I find it really crazy how the gaming industry is the only industry in the world that thinks that they're entitled to their jobs when they're doing a shitty job. Any other job industry in the world, if you're incapable of doing the job, you're fired. Like, I don't expect to hire someone in a restaurant that can't cook. I don't expect to be hired as a welder if I can't weld. I'm not going to hire a bus driver that's blind. Like, and I don't think I've ever worked a job where I can cost my employers upwards of $1 billion and still have my job. And it's crazy to me that these people seem to think that they're entitled to that job while still costing their employers hundreds to $1 billion. Like, hundreds of millions of dollars to $1 billion. It's insane to me. Meanwhile, these are also the same developers that go all over social media saying that they want to stick it to their audience and they want straight white people to feel the pain of their miserable existence and shit like this. And then wonder why no one's sympathetic to them when they lose their jobs. Well, you suck at your job, you're an asshole, and nobody likes you. It's really not complicated.
Sting. The answer probably for a lot of these people is no. So get rid of them. It's so easy.
Can't be that our, leadership is incompetent. It can't be the slop that we've been delivering to the customers. It can't be that we've been over-investing in these projects.
Do you remember when Seattle Iwata, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the first name right, one of the co-chairman and like one of the main people at Nintendo took a massive pay cut when the Wii U didn't do well? I've never heard of a Western CEO or a Western leader doing that.
Right?
It has to be that the customer's not paying enough money.
No, normally when that happens here, they give themselves a raise.
Yeah.
That has to be the solution to this. So today what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the industry's long list of excuses as to why we need to be paying $100 or more. We're going to watch on as journalists seal clap the...
I'm sure it's going to have something to do with how hard their jobs are and how much money goes into making the product and essentially all the things that nobody really gives a shit about because every industry has its problems and every product has its difficulties in creating. Yes, your job's hard. That's why you're being hired to do it, because the owners don't want to do it themselves because it's shitty. I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of jobs in the world kind of fucking suck. Sorry if I don't have any sympathy for you sitting on beanbag chairs while you talk about how much privilege that I have versus, I don't know, and not doing your job. Like, no. No, you're not going to get any sympathy from me.
Industry's death march into oblivion, and we're going to talk about why I think the players aren't going to buy. This isn't the first time we've had to have this conversation. Back in 2023, Capcom's president came forward at an event in...
You can't guilt trip consumers into giving you money. I don't know where this logic came from, where you're going to guilt trip people into seeing things your way. All you're going to do is you're going to demonize them instead, and they're going to say, fuck you.
Japan and explained that video game prices were far too low even after the price hike up to $70, explaining that video game development costs are 100 times more expensive than they've ever been, and games haven't followed inflation like other industries. And he's not wrong. In 1990, a standard game would...
Well, no. And yes, I understand that the cost to make these things is going up, but also the quality seems to be going down as well, which confuses me. So you're spending all this extra money and time, but the quality is getting worse. And you expect the consumer to essentially take the inconvenience for that? No.
Would cost around $50. Adjust for inflation, that would be closer to $100 today. Yet, even with the price hikes in 2020 up to...
And the funny thing is, those games were better than a lot of what's in the market today.
$70 for AAA games. The reality is...
You can justify it however much that you want, and I think that there are a lot of logical arguments that people can make for why a video game should be $100, but all of the logic in the world doesn't make somebody give you $100. A value proposition that is compelling causes them to give you $100. And the value propositions are simply not compelling. Because people like this don't know the fundamentals of sales and the fundamentals of selling. And because of that, they've been so lost in the sauce of bureaucracy and executive management that they forgot how to actually look at things from the eyes of a consumer. $100 for a video.
Well, see, they don't care about the consumer. They want us to feel the pain of our miserable existence and then wonder why we don't want to give them $100. It's funny.
Video game that's problematic is just simply not going to work. The number is too big. $90 I think is possible. $100 I don't think is possible yet.
is that the industry just hasn't kept pace. Over the same time period, from 1990s to today, wages, marketing, and development costs have all skyrocketed. Game studios are spending exponentially more money than they ever did in the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, and I don't see why that's the consumer's problem, that they decide to spend more money on bullshit that the consumer doesn't care about. And that's your choice, not mine. That's why I'm making the executive choice not to buy your game, because it sucks, and I don't want to give you $100 for something that sucks.
So the profit made on the sale of a single game has shrunk year over year. If we were to adjust in line with
They
inflation,
need to go after those like kids fire everybody from the federal government. They need to have EA needs to hire them. Blizzard needs to hire those like 21-year-old racists and have them go into Blizzard and just take care of it, right?
Oh my fucking god.
from the early
Jesus
days of
Christ,
gaming
bro.
to today,
Yeah, bring in big
AAA
balls.
games would be priced well over $100, maybe
Bring
even
in big
$150 to be able to
balls.
match today's financial realities. Now, all of that makes sense with nuance removed. However, we don't live in a world without nuance. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of games that are released today make far more money past the point of sale. Something
yeah.
that didn't exist back when games were being made in the 90s and early 2000s, while they still had
That's another thing. A lot of these games, the ones that don't suck, are making way more money than they put into it. And what I've noticed a lot of developers that make crappy games are doing nowadays is they're trying to pinch their customers for the money that they lost developing bad games. Like Ubisoft, they've released L after L after L after L, so now they're putting battle passes and microtransactions into single player games in order to pinch their customers for the money that they've wasted on the games that nobody wanted to purchase. And that might work for a little bit, but in the long run of things, you're just going to lose more and more customers. Putting a battle pass in a single player game has got to be the stupidest bullshit I've ever fucking heard in my life. The only time that people really defend battle passes in games is in order to unlock skins that you can show off to other people you play with. And if you're not recording yourself playing the game, who the fuck are you going to show these skins off to? Any kind of cosmetic items in a single player game should be unlockable by playing the game. You're not going to be able to show it off to anybody. It's nothing more than a fun little extra thing to add to a single player game. There's no reason for a battle pass to exist in a single player game, and there's even less of a reason to purchase it. Unless you're a streamer or a YouTuber or somebody who's playing this with other people around you, you're essentially just paying extra money to look cool for yourself. Which is fine, but I think that should be doable without a battle pass if it's a single player game. I'm not going to pay extra money for a skin in a single player game that I'm not going to be able to show to anybody. But in a game like Marvel Rivals, I may spend $20-$40 every once in a while for a cool skin, because then I get to show it off to the people I'm playing with. I know they probably don't care, but it makes me feel better. You know, just a little flair to your gameplay with other people, but it doesn't do anything in a single player game, because the only person that could potentially give a shit is yourself. So it should be free to unlock it. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking crazy talk, and this will be the new norm, and we're all going to have to pay for battle passes in single-player games now. No, we don't have to do that. As long as nobody buys it, they'll stop putting them in, because it'll waste production time for them to bother producing it. Keep your wallet. Have some self-control, people. You want to buy a skin in Marvel Rivals? Cool. Don't buy a skin in Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's no reason. It's not an online game. No one's going to see your skin, and no one's going to give a shit. Don't feed the beast. Buy the game and play it, but don't buy the battle pass.
merchandise, toys, and clothing, and other.
There's infinitely many different. Like, you can never step in the same river twice, right? And so, now you have way less production costs, but you have higher distribution costs in some cases through things like Steam. You also have microtransactions, but you don't have deluxe editions that are as big of a component to sales as they used to be when they were physical copies. You're not selling physical copies anymore, but you also have microtransactions. And so you're comparing so many apples to so many oranges, it's very hard to say whether it's justified or not. And at the end of the day, it's not relevant as to whether it's justified or not. It's only relevant as to whether people are willing to pay that price or not.
Yeah.
Because you can justify it as much as you want, and you can be right. Being right doesn't mean people have to agree with you.
Different things that they could sell. Now today, games have
So
DLC,
foolish.
loot boxes, gotcha and gambling mechanics,
Carlotta.
microtransactions,
What a waste
expansions,
of money.
collector's
This bitch
editions,
sucked.
and more. I'm sorry, but you can't
I mean, I don't understand gotcha games, but clearly people see the value in wasting money on anime waifus. You want people to give you money? Give them a value proposition to give you money. Half-naked anime girls apparently are a way to get money. A crappy game that doesn't play well and has a battle pass in it, not so much.
convince me that video game companies aren't making enough money today, or there aren't enough ways for them to make money. However, games journalists and industry analyst Matthew Ball are going to try to tell us otherwise. In an article written by Eddie Mackich titled GTA 6 could...
Oh boy. The game developers are going to tell us how it is. This should be good. GTA 6 could cost as much as $100. Yeah, but if it's anything like GTA 5 was, it's actually going to be worth $100 and people are going to pay for it. So if you're going to compare your products to another product, why don't you actually try to make them like that product? And did I only get one nugget out of 175?
cost as much as $100, some hope. Analyst clarifies comments. If Take-Two raises prices...
Yeah, and I would pay $100 for GTA 6 in a heartbeat if Rockstar puts the same amount of work into it that they did in 5. That's a $100 game right there. If anything, if they make it as good and better than GTA 5, people would probably pay more. Because guess what? It's a good game. It's worth the $100 price tag. See how easy that was? See how it's really not as deep as these developers make it out to be? Just make a product that's worth $100 and people will give you $100? Man, I wonder how many times we gotta keep saying it till they fucking get it through their thick skulls. That it's really not deep. You want money. Sell something that's worth the money.
Just to
I
$80.
love how also, like, I hope that all of these other companies that are like slop farms don't think that now that GTA 6 breaks the glass ceiling, that now they can charge $100 for like their piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, GTA 6 doing it. Yeah, no, that could be a thing. They're gonna see Rockstar selling their game for $100, and then they're gonna take their mediocre garbage products and try to do the same thing. Oh boy, let's see how that works out.
I really hope that they don't think that's what's gonna happen. Like, people pay $100 for Baldur's Gate 4. They pay $100 for Elden Ring 2. They're not gonna pay $100 for fucking generic, fucking random current year slop. Not gonna pay $100 for Concord. Not going to pay $100 for Veilguard. It's not going to happen.
Or more, other publishers could apparently follow suit. Eddie writes, veteran investment analyst and researcher Matthew Ball of Opinion has released a gargantuan 219-page report about the state of video gaming in 2025, and some of the presentation looks at how the video game industry could possibly grow in 2025. In a section titled How Player Playtime and Player Spend Might Return to Growth, Ball mentioned a variety of opportunities, including Grand Theft Auto 6 costing as much as $100 when it launches this year. Ball said that there is hope among some in the game market that Take-Two will price GTA 6 at $80 or even $100, which could prove as a turning point for the video game industry. This could break a key price barrier and allow developers to raise their prices as well, he said. Before this, a Baldur's Gate 3 developer said
It's not going to happen. People still complain about $70. And also, like, the other issue is that people don't, like, yeah, you can make these sales, and one day video games will be an average of $100. But I don't really think that we're there for the average customer yet. I just don't really think so. People will only spend that much money for insanely good once-a-year games. To act like you can make this the new normal is peak delusion.
Right?
GTA 6 could prompt a shift to more expensive games if Take-Two decides to price it above $70. In a series of follow-up posts, Ball shared further key updates, including how GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms, with GTA 5 costing $83. Ball added, your rent is up, movie tickets have doubled, minimum wage, Spotify, Netflix, bus fare, gas, etc. Indeed, nearly all categories are up, not just flat in real terms.
And the worst part about it is that he's right about everything that he's saying.
Oh, there it is.
Everything about this is accurate. All of these things are true. But none of it matters if the consumer isn't willing to spend the money.
Right?
You can make economic arguments, you can show people graphs, but showing somebody a graph doesn't make them give you $80. That just makes them say, wow, damn, that's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
While games are at record lows. He went on to say Rockstar's cost isn't sufficient to set the price, but the argument games should be the only thing never to adjust for inflation and thus be, in the strictest terms, worth less every year is not healthy either or a good argument, in my opinion. Ball was not making a prediction himself that GTA 6 would cost $100, only that there is a belief in the market by some that it could happen. For his money, Ball said that GTA 6 will cost $70. I can't believe I have to say this, but customers only ever care about inflation when said inflation affects them and their money. $100 is $100. Whether it's 1990 or 2025, no matter how you spin it, what excuses you make, or what numbers you point to, the vast majority of people just flat out cannot afford those prices. And
well, it's also that, like, there's this psychological marketing, right? I mean, it's like odd even pricing. I mean, this is something you learn. You take one business class in college and you learn this. They probably teach this in high school in some places. That's why everything is $9.99 or $7. It's because people just perceive that to be less money.
Far more difficult time justifying buying games day one or buying games at all. My friends with kids buy maybe 1-2 games a year, or they just spend their money on indie games because they're far cheaper, they tend to have more replay value, and they don't take as long to complete. My friends
that are like, these are like my long-term 20-year friends, they play Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, Factorio, Elden Ring.
Where's all my gold bars?
Oh, and I have a friend, he's playing the new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game again. Because we played it growing up.
Why can't I?
That's it.
I want to move this.
Terraria, yeah, I've got another friend plays Terraria. Had to play Terraria with his girlfriend.
Ah, that's how you do that. Okay.
Without kids, well, they work too much and they can't even justify buying a $70 game, and they just choose to play free-to-play games instead. Gen Z is so maladjusted and ambivalent due to the pandemic that they can't even find work, and even if they do, they can't hold jobs for long. The vast majority of them are choosing to become NEETs out of choice. Who are they playing?
Babe?
Who would do that? I don't know what you mean. Needs by choice. I'm kidding, of course. I have a real job.
True.
Planning to sell these games to, and where are they going to find the money? When Ball mentions how...
I mean, I'm not saying that YouTube creation isn't a real job. I have a job outside of wanting to be a NEET. I can weld a little bit.
GTA 4 was priced at $90 in real terms. He's talking about how the price of GTA, adjusting for inflation, was priced above inflation at the time, making $59.99 feel like $90 at the time.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
And that's why it should be completely...
No, it was a lot of money. Like, my mom was like, she's like, you think I'm going to buy you a $50 fucking game? How long are you going to play that game for?
Oh, yeah, I know. Video games... like even during Christmas time, were very rare. Like you would have to get, you'd have to like collect gift cards and money that you got from Christmas gifts so that you could pool it all together to buy one game. At least for me. Like my parents could only really afford like the budget then was like $20 a person, which back then got you, you know, a few decent things. Now, like, fucking you give it $20, right? But damn, bro, video games were expensive back then too.
I remember back in the day, like Super Nintendo and N64 days. Like, she was like, you've got to really convince me on this game. You got to sell me on this game. Now, I mean, there were the easy ones. Like, I just say, Mom, Legend of Zelda. She says, oh, okay. We buy, and I remember it wasn't Majora's Mask. So you had to get, like, remember the N64, you had to get that memory thing, that red shit. And then, wasn't Majora's Mask $60? Because it was like a gold cartridge or some shit. I remember we bought it from, like, a Walmart. Yeah, like, that was it. Because damn. Was it 70? Yeah, I forgot. I have to go downstairs. I still got the box.
Fine for games to be $90 or $100 today.
I actually remember
Here's
the
the
day
other
that we
thing they're
bought that.
missing. $100 isn't just a number. It's a cultural touchstone. It's a psychological threshold that makes consumers think twice before making the purchase.
$100
Crossing that $100 mark makes a statement. It's saying that this product is now a luxury tier item, something that isn't just an impulse.
Yeah, it's actually scientifically proven in psychology that the jump from 90 to $100 activates something in our brain because of adding that extra digit into the equation makes us question, is this actually worth my money at this point? And it's interesting. Like, you would think, like, oh, it's only $10 more, right? But the second you throw in that extra zero in there, it changes the way that we look at things. Something that costs most people would be more convinced to buy something for $90 than they would for $100, because once you add that triple digit in there, it does something to our brains, and we're like, and it makes us think more about it. 100%. It's been proven in psychology. Why do you think people price things with without using whole numbers? If you were to price something, you want to sell something for, say, $25, you have a higher chance to sell that item to somebody if you put the price as $24.99 instead of $25. Psychologically, that 1 cent does make a difference in someone's mind when it comes to making a decision to purchase something. And that's why stores do that, right? And same thing with gas prices. It's never a solid number. It's always like, at least here in Canada, it's $1.46 a liter. Or, before it was $1.46, it was like 85.9 cents a liter. Like, they always skip that threshold of going to the next number because it's been psychologically proven to improve sales.
Pulse buy, but an investment, whether it's worth it or not. And that's when that feeling
You want
hits.
to hear a really fun inflation fact? The purchasing power of $3 in like the early 1900s is roughly equivalent to $100 now.
Oof. That's crazy.
The hardest. It's not just about the price tag.
Isn't that
It's about the
cute?
perception of value and what people can reasonably spend
That's
in
real
an
cute,
already
right?
stretched economy. Look, a $100 purchase feels like it demands a justification. I can't tell you guys how many times I had to overcome dread when I was wanting to upgrade from a $30 webcam and a $50 microphone.
Yeah.
For many, this is going to be a breaking point. The moment where games start to feel more like an exclusive club for the people that can afford it and less like a pastime accessible to anyone who loves the medium.
That's
Well, yeah, and because we've eliminated, like, solid copies of games, you don't really have the option to wait for something to end up in a used game store anymore, where you can go get it for $50 cheaper. Because that's how I got things when I was a kid. I'd shovel walks and I'd go to the used game store and I'd buy a game for $20 instead of $60. You know, yeah, you won't be able, most people won't be able to play games on release because, but like that option's no longer there. Like even I wanted to get my cousin into Diablo 3 and I was like, there's no way it's still $90, right? So I look it up on his PlayStation and it's still $90. Bro, it's Diablo 3. This game's been out. Let me look this up. It's been a while. Like, how long is Diablo 3? 2012. Diablo 3 has been out for 13 goddamn years, and they're still charging full fucking price for it. That's insane. So, games aren't getting cheaper over time, so it's not like you can wait to get a used copy anymore.
It's also another really big problem he's bringing up is that video games are mainly for young guys, and young guys care about video games the most because video games are the first place that young men...
It's like, why do you think I'm playing a 20-year-old game here that cost me $20 a month to play? I'd really like to get a Valve right now, but paying $120 for early access just doesn't seem like a value proposition to me. I'd much rather use that money to buy food. Could I afford it? Yeah. Do I want to buy it? No. No, spending $120 on a game that, from what I've seen, looks pretty mediocre. No. Like, the best thing that people can do now is to wish this things on Steam and wait for them to go on a Steam sale. It's not even a sale from the game company itself. I still can't believe on the PlayStation Network store, Diablo 3 is still the original price that it was when it came out in 2012. You think after 13 goddamn years they would lower the price.
And have an opportunity to prove themselves on an even playing field with other people that are not just their peers. So, like, for example, when you play a video game in Fortnite, like, let's say...
Plus, here's another thing, is a lot of those games, when you're teenagers, you could kind of, like, team up with your friends and be like, I'll buy this one, and you buy this one, and then we'll just play them, and then we'll borrow them to each other. Like, you could do that back then, or you could play on the couch together and co-op or split screen. Like, these are all things that have been taken away. And those things were value propositions back then. If you bring those things back, you might be able to get $100 for a game, but I don't think they're ever going to. Because these companies are greedy and they just want to sell everybody consoles. They don't want somebody inviting a friend over and playing on the same Xbox anymore. They want those people to have two Xbox and two versions of the game instead. Yeah, shocker, no one's going to give you money for that anymore. The days of, like, buying a single game and being able to share it with your friends is long gone. And you want to charge us how much?
You're playing Marvel Rivals and you're 14, you're not going to get gapped by some 30-year-old with a job. Now, the reality is that you actually have an advantage over him, not just genetically because you're younger, you have, like, naturally faster reflexes, but also because... like, you don't even know what a mortgage is. You have an income tax. What the fuck is so a 401k, what is that? You're 14 years old. All you know about is, playing this character and being good at this, right? You don't even know, like, a 1040. Like, what's a 1040? Is that like a... is that like a Fortnite move or something? And so, yeah, you don't even know shit. So you can, like, 100% zero in on a video game. And so, yeah, is that the new graphics card or something? And so,
true.
That's really a big difference, too, is that young guys and people without a lot of resources look to video games as an outlet for them to experience life on an even playing field. And I think...
Yeah, and unfortunately now most games aren't an even playing field because the rich can pay to win now. So again, another value proposition taken away from the average consumer who's going to want to give $100 to play something that someone else can just spend $10,000 on and essentially curb stomp the shit out of them. Yeah, fuck that.
think that that's a really big component that's not discussed enough. And I think that that desire is partially naive, but it exists.
Well, yeah. Because back in the day,
barrier that not only reflects inflation, but
back in the day, you could log on to Xbox Live and play Halo, or Halo 2 or Halo 3, and usually the guys in the same match as you, the only thing that mattered was your skill at the game, not how much money you made. It's different now. You got more money, you get access to certain advantages in games, and what person's gonna sign up to pay to get their ass kicked?
also sets the tone for how the industry views its audience. One where only a select few can afford or truly engage with what the industry has to offer. I just hate how disingenuous all of this is. Ball says the prices for all things are up, and the idea that games need to stay the same price isn't fair. Conveniently ignore
how you've taken away solid copies, how you've taken away the ability to purchase older games at a later date for a cheaper price. Yeah. Fucking sucks, bro.
But it doesn't matter.
It's also really not fair how you say that we don't even get to own the games anymore, and a lot of these have to be live service, so you've taken away the ability to potentially play this game in the future if you decide to turn off your servers and kill the fucking game. And it's also unfair that at any point you could basically just take away access from these games because they're digital copies, and you can just turn the switch off at any time. Man, yeah, things are unfair. Fucking cry me a goddamn river.
That's the issue. When we are old, we are going to look back and say, you remember back in the day when video games were only $100? We're going to do that one day. But not today.
upfront price of games has remained relatively stable. The way that games are monetized has changed drastically. In-game purchases, microtransactions, season passes, battle passes, and expensive collector's editions have all become the norm.
Oh yeah, and another thing that's really annoying and obnoxious is a lot of video games are like going to a fucking casino. You know, all these flashing lights and things on the screen before you even get into the fucking game, asking you, buy this, buy that, get this skin, get blah blah blah, this event's happening, all this stuff. It's like flashing lights on a fucking VLT machine that tries to distract you so you spend more money. It's just like, let me play the fucking game. I don't want to sit here before I could even hit the play button and get spammed with more ways to spend money after I just spent money to purchase this game. You want to sit here and talk about how things are unfair?
Norm. Game companies have found new, more aggressive ways to squeeze every dollar from the player far beyond the original price tag. A $60 to $70 game is no longer just that. It's an...
And what's surprising to me is how they didn't think people would eventually catch on to this. What, do you think that the consumers were really just this stupid that they would just take this shit lying down? No, people have been criticizing this for like a decade now, and since you didn't want to listen, now people just got apathetic to it, and we just won't give you money anymore. There's plenty of other games to play. Fuck, I'll sit here and I'll smelt gold bars and do my stream and watch videos, and then when I'm bored with this, I'll go play some Borderlands 3 and not give you $100 for something that's just gonna essentially piss me off. Like, why would I pay money to inconvenience myself?
Entry point to truly experience whatever the game has to offer.
It's like whenever you pay for a girl's OnlyFans and then you find out that everything in the OnlyFans is actually pay-per-view. So you have to pay a subscription to be part of the OnlyFans, and then you have to pay for the content on top of that?
I don't know. I've never really...
How would you know?
How would you know?
Because I dated girls that did that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they paid for my dinner plenty of times. It was great.
Players are often pressured into spending far more in additional content. Customers aren't just paying more, they're paying far beyond what they originally bargained for, and that's what should be addressed, not just the price tag on the box. And what's even more funny about all of this is the fact that the writer of this article actually ended up using the Baldur's Gate 3 developers' words out of context. And by the way, if you guys have paid attention at all to journalism
I love
over
how
the
they like to compare like Baldur's Gate 3 to like the new Assassin's Creed or like Star Wars Outlaws.
Whoops, where am I
Like,
going?
oh yeah, this is like these are both AAA games. Like, yeah, these are both AAA games. Yeah, like a firework, like a black cat and a grenade are both explosives. They both explode.
Yeah, they both go boom.
Yeah, for sure.
last couple of years, they've been using Baldur's Gate 3 developers out of context constantly because they think it adds some type of emotional weight to whatever their words are. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look, here's this great developer that made a game that everybody loves saying that they agree with us, when 9 times out of 10, their words are completely out of context.
Yeah.
They used it here saying that everybody's just waiting for GTA to increase.
Oh yeah, everything is always out of context and straw man nowadays, and people feel so proud of themselves when they use straw man arguments. It's so pathetic.
The price, acting like the Baldur's Gate 3 developers want GTA to increase the price. When
Yeah, but I don't think we'll get there with DLC promises. Yeah, so that's a really
the
important
original tweet
component.
that they had made was talking about how
Yeah.
much they hated artificial price structures and gouging that we see in today's gaming industry. The original tweet actually said, "I don't love the artificiality of pricing structures post-retail. Use the inflated base price to upsell a subscription,
Yep.
and use vague content promises to inflate ultimate editions to the
Jesus.
base price."
Yeah, remember when Star Wars Outlaws was trying to sell that for $130? Might have been possible had the game not been just a pile of steaming garbage. I mean, the stormtroopers sounded like retarded Arnold Schwarzenegger. Whose idea was that?
Price look better. It all seems a bit dangerous and disconnected from the
Oops.
community.
That's a
I
fact.
think the game should be priced according to its quality, breadth, and depth. I'm not against higher prices,
That
but
is how it used to fucking be, and they stopped doing this in the GameCube era. Before that, that's how it used to be. And this guy's, you can tell, look at his hairline. He remembers that.
Shit.
this arbitrary uniformity just doesn't make sense to me.
Hey, my hairline's doing fine, and I remember that. Not all of us gotta be balding, bro.
It feels so unserious. I'm gonna go off for a second. Don't you guys love how every single time they like to twist things to be able to suit whatever their narrative is, and everything is always coming from the perspective of the industry and
Well, yeah, that's what narcissistic assholes do. They twist everything in order to make their argument seem better and dehumanize you. Fucking duh.
never from the perspective of the player, of the customer, the people that are actually spending money on these things to begin with? Because we are never a priority. We are never at the forefront of discussion. We are never at the forefront of their mind when they're making these decisions. And then they
Well, and that's why they're no longer at the forefront of our minds when we're considering buying something for $100. Funny how that works.
sit back and
It's
they wonder.
actually crazy how you can have people that are visionary product designers and visionary like innovators in the industry. I think 2 great examples are Michael Dell and Steve Jobs for computers recently. And both of them looked explicitly at the consumer experience and worked backwards from that. And then you have these clowns that somehow, like,
Honk,
you
honk.
literally have it written out for you. They wrote a book on how to do it. It's not like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just start rolling. And they're not.
Right?
Can't use the fucking wheel. So Jobs is a great salesman. Yeah, nobody listens to the fucking customer. It's nuts.
Why games are failing.
Yeah, man, what happened to this whole, people were so obsessed with the customer's always right. Well, the customer's always right until it's inconvenient for them to be right. Like, now that you have to actually put some work into your products, now the customer's retarded. And this is the only time where I actually think the customers are right. Your products are just bad. You know, if I go to a restaurant and I order a steak and you bring me chicken, I'm not going to pay for it. Or if I order chicken and you burn the shit out of it, again, I'm not paying for it. Why the fuck should I have to pay for something that looks like crap? I mean...
And studios are closing. I don't know. How could that possibly happen? The prices for everything is going up. You're absolutely right. Now that I think about it, you know what hasn't gone up with inflation? The general quality and day one performance of video games. Even some of the best games that we've seen...
Oh, there it is. Yep. The truth hurts, don't it?
Released over the last few years can't even hit a standardized level of quality. We are spending $60 to $70 on brand new day one video games that we have to sit there and hold the bag because the game's not even finished, because it's always the minimum viable product that's being
the MVP. This ain't sports, bro. Most valuable player? Minimum viable product. That means the biggest piece of shit that we can get you to pay for. And Avowed, they just come out and they say, they're like, yeah, we know this is going to be fucked on release. And it's like, yeah, I get it, right? But you can't go and say that and then be surprised if people don't want to give you $90 for a deluxe edition.
Released to us, and we have to wait for them to finish the game for us to be able to play it.
Careful, guys. Logic is scary to these people. We got to remember that unless it's completely delusional stupidity, it's completely foreign to them.
Let me take a wild guess and say they're probably going to try to blame the price of things on that as well.
For sure. Mm-hmm. It's Trump.
They want to talk about how expensive it is to make games today. You know, my question is,
that's what game developers are going to try and do. They're going to try and blame. They're going to say Trump tariffs are making.
Yeah, it's Trump's fault that video games cost more now. Whatever excuse we can use, right?
Our video games too expensive, and so now we have to charge you more, so you have to hate Trump.
Yeah. Anything else but to have any accountability.
The ones that need to keep up with you and your spending. We didn't sign up for that. When I look around the industry, I see some of the most successful games over the last few years: Baldur's Gate 3, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2. These games were made with a quarter of the budget of some of these big...
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Look at that. They said they made that game for like $41 million.
Man, I gotta get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, man. It looked really good. And anyway, good point. Like, if other companies are producing better quality in a fraction of the time and money, you really don't have an excuse here. Like, I could understand if it was just the industry norm that every game was going to cost $400 to produce now. It sounds more like a personal choice made by these companies to invest money in a bullshit that nobody cares about. Well, it sucks to suck, doesn't it?
Huh. How'd that happen?
Like, how's that my fault?
AAA games that nobody ended up buying in the first place. You guys are making tens of billions of dollars. The vast majority of the money that is made in this industry is coming from microtransactions.
Yep.
This is not my problem.
Yep.
Not my problem and not my battle.
You've gotta stop asking the consumer to take on the accountability from the business.
Duh.
Stop asking consumers to do that. That's not how you run a business. You run a...
Imagine if you're running a restaurant and you were begging people to come in and eat. Yeah, no one's gonna do that, bro. The product brings the customers in. You're a business. Your job is to make money. You're not a charity, and I don't give a fuck about, well, any problems that you have to deal with. Because at the end of the day, your job is to make money, and my job is to give you money. That's it. That's the relationship that a consumer and a business have. You want my money, then you need to give me reason to give it to you. And whining and bitching and complaining that your job's hard isn't going to convince me. In fact, it's going to make me want to give you money less.
business by creating a product, creating value that people are willing to give you money for.
Like I just said.
A lot of things beyond that, almost everything beyond that, is
Doesn't-
noise.
Yeah. It's noise, it doesn't fucking matter, everybody's job sucks, boo fucking who, where's my good game?
Of these companies to sit by and wait for somebody else to increase prices because they know it's a game or they think it's a game that everybody's going to buy and it's going to be the best way to just sneak that price change in. And
Too
that
good
is
to
so
fail, guys.
telling because you are pathetic and you realize that your games wouldn't sell.
That's right, because they suck.
Asmund, thanks for unpausing. Eddie continues with $70 is
Bro got called out. Everybody knows. Thanks for unpausing. Oh, that's gold. I mean, this is gold, but so was that. That was great. Oh, that was a good laugh. Just knows. Everybody knows.
He was right.
He's watching.
I mean, shit, he was right. I mean, fuck.
Is Asmongold in the room with us right now? No, I'm too small of a creator to be noticed by him, but man, that'd be fucking funny.
Fuck, I don't know what to say. Yeah.
the current market rate
He was
for new
watching
AAA
you.
releases. And in fact, it was Take-Two
Okay.
that was among the first.
We'll just change the song for Santa Claus, and we'll just put Asmongold in there. He watches you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Alright, sorry.
First to raise prices from $60 to
Okay.
$70 back in 2020. Many are naturally wondering if Take-Two might raise prices again for GTA 6's launch. But it remains to be seen if that'll happen. Beyond updating the sticker price for games, video publishers have found other ways to be able to make more money out of players, including expensive editions, microtransactions, and battle passes, just to name a few. GTA 5, for example, has sold 205 million copies
That's a lot
and
of
brings
people.
in a lot of money in microtransactions in GTA Online.
Shark
Early
cards.
predictions have said that
Ooh.
GTA 6 could sell 40 million copies and earn more than $3 billion in revenue during its first year alone.
Wow.
Paul said that GTA 6's launch this year will have mixed impact on total player hours and revenue
Mm-hmm.
across the gaming industry because it'll only be available on console.
Yeah.
The PC release is expected after the console launch.
Oh, really? I
However,
didn't even know
Ball
that.
said that GTA 6 will severely cannibalize total hours and spending that would go to other video games when it launches. For its part,
Of course, that's what happens. It's the same reason why this game killed Overwatch. Like, you see this game going like this, you see Overwatch going... It's dying.
Yeah, and I can't even explain, like... Something in our subconscious just doesn't like Overwatch anymore. Like, once they re-released the game as free to play, I don't know, the vibe just like completely changed. I don't know what it is. I mean, mind you, I started getting bored with Overwatch long before it was decided to change to Overwatch 2, but like I definitely noticed a vibe change whenever I went to go try it. I don't really have an explanation for it. Just subconsciously in my brain, I'm like, this just isn't for me anymore. But then I play Marvel Rivals, and I'm like, this shit's fucking good.
Ubisoft said GTA 6 is a good
Maybe it's because Marvel Rivals is new and exciting, and Overwatch is just old news, right? I'll admit that the game plays well, and it was fun.
thing for the video game industry overall because a huge game like that may help more people turn to gaming.
It is.
Some of the other areas that Ball listed off as having potential for growth in 2025 included further expansions into non-core markets, user-generated content, social game services, the Nintendo Switch 2, other new handhelds and devices, AA, AAA, mobile gaming, app store regulation, new game releases.
Although, I will say this. Fuck the goddamn crackheads who play Spider-Man. Jesus Christ, that guy can, like, if you're good with Spider-Man, he's impossible to fucking catch. Him and Wolverine. Oh, you get a good Wolverine and a Spider-Man on the enemy team, and you pick any class that can't essentially melee, they're gonna get you. Like, I was playing Squirrel Girl in one match, and I had Spider-Man and Wolverine just gangbanging the fuck out of me. Couldn't do shit. Had to change to that chick with the sword, the demon chick, and then I was actually able to kind of fight back. But playing a ranged character when they got a Wolverine and a Spider-Man, it's just like they get in behind and they just tear your ass.
Is generative AI and advertising. Make this make sense. I do not understand how GTA 6, projecting 40 million copies sold and $3 billion in revenue in its first year, is somehow a footnote in a discussion as to why other games should increase their prices to $100. They are failing to realize why GTA 5 did so well, why GTA 6 is likely to do even better, or why it could even sell for $100 in the first place.
It's people that think that, like, they see one person who's successful and they look at the person go through the finish line and they say, oh, okay, I'm going to start running this race. But they don't realize that this person trained for it for like 20
Weird. Who would do that?
years. Like, yeah, if you remove all context, this makes sense. But if you think about it, it stops making sense.
Well, yeah. With anything that has a lot of intrinsic value, it's not just handed down to people. It takes time to earn this stuff. I know for a fact that the people who make a lot of money with this content creation stuff have been doing it for years and building and have been consistent. I still want to fucking cross that finish line eventually, but I gotta do my training.
Thinking about what the impact...
think about how many... That's a good example, right? Is streamers. Think about how many streamers there are. Oh, well, all you do is just sit there and play video games. Well, I can do that, and I'm going to stream and be a millionaire.
Yeah, me too. Just kidding. Me and my one viewer.
And then you do it, and nobody watches the show.
Nah, I'm sure people will watch eventually. Just like anything else, you gotta be consistent and just keep uploading and, you know, entertaining the 1 to 5 people, and then it turns to 10, and then it goes up from there. As long as you're entertaining, I think I'm at least somewhat entertaining. In my opinion, but I guess we'll see in the next couple of years if anybody starts watching, then maybe I'll have to come to the realization that maybe this isn't for me. But anyway, for now I'm having fun with it, so book it.
I think that's another good example. In a way, it worked before. Yeah, exactly. That's just how it is. It doesn't work. It's easy, right? Yeah, it's easy. People just want to sit there and they don't understand a lot of the context about it. It's the same as crypto, or like investing in general. They don't understand anything about how to make money. They just think that if they put $300 in a Hawk Tuah coin, they'll be a fucking millionaire.
A price increase would be on other games and other studios outside of one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. $70 is the new current market rate for AAA.
Well, and the whole, like, the meme coin thing, everybody wants to be on the next train of Bitcoin phenomenon happening, which I don't think that's ever going to happen again. That was like a one-time weird phenomenon that we were not expecting to happen, and I don't even know how it happened. I'm sure people will explain it, and I won't understand it. The point is, every other person that's tried to copy on that success has pretty much failed. You get one person who actually makes money off crypto, but in order for that to work, you have to have 100 losers.
AAA releases? No, I think it's the going market rate for trash. The best releases on PC over the past 2 years have been $60. I mean, take a minute to think about it.
Yeah,
if game prices were $100 today, what games
It's actually a really good point. Like Elden Ring and I think Baldur's Gate 3 both were $60, right? They weren't even 70.
realistically come out at $100. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Diablo 4, Call of Duty, The Sims, sports games, trash, generic slop, and in some cases, absolute dumpster fires. And while some of them still would have reached an audience, they wouldn't have reached an audience of the same size because they would have cut off their leg to save a foot in regards to the game's price. I mean, think about what you're saying here. Even Ball mentions how GTA 6 is likely to cannibalize the sales and playtime of other games when they're released. Now imagine these morons raising their prices to $100. Good games sell well and bad games don't.
So these developer companies are afraid that Rockstar is going to take all their customers. Well, why don't you just work harder to make a product that can actually compete with theirs instead of whining and complaining that your products are half-assed and inadequate and nobody wants to buy them, and yet we're having this conversation that you want to start charging $100 for them, yet you're afraid of another company outshadowing you. Wouldn't that kind of be your point to say, hey, maybe we should make better content for our games so that we can compete with the other companies who are going to steal our potential customers? I don't know. Whenever I was competing with people as a teenager, I didn't bitch and complain that they were better than me at something. No, I got better at that thing so that I could compete with them. I played lacrosse, I played hockey, I played soccer, I played basketball. There's always going to be someone that's better at you at the game. Are you going to sit there and throw a little temper tantrum when someone's better at you at playing hockey? No, you're going to practice and get better at playing hockey so that you can compete with that person. The second you start complaining is the second you lose. Nothing is solved by bitching and complaining that you're not getting what someone else is getting. If you want that thing, go out and fucking get it. If you're afraid of Rockstar stealing your customers, fucking steal them back.
And from my perspective, if the price of games were to increase, it's going to price a lot of players out of a lot of games, and the entire market is going to shift. Good games.
Another really big component to this that's not considered enough is the effects this has on second world and third world country markets. And I think that the biggest one is South America. South America are some of the most dedicated and invested communities online for video games in the entire world. And so when you make games like that and you don't have regional pricing for people like that, you lose this massive fan base that you could potentially have.
Oh yeah,
big numbers. Yeah, exactly. Like it's insane.
That's another thing I think a lot of these Western developers seem to forget is that North America isn't the only place in the world. There's an entire planet here with other people. So when you get stuck in your own personal worldviews and you don't think about the world as a whole, you're kind of counteracting an entire audience that could potentially be giving you money. I genuinely think that a lot of people that live in America seem to think that they're the only country in the world, and that the rest of the world doesn't exist or something, and they just forget that there's other cultures on this giant mud ball that also probably want a video game. Anyway, it's getting late. I unfortunately have to go to work in the morning, so we'll just come back to this tomorrow. Hopefully around the same time, and we'll do this for a few hours, because this was fun. Just kind of talking some shit. But anyway.